education helps the development of hand, brain, mind and the heart. All these things should be fully developed, and finally inculcation of the values and ethics. And the foremost thing is to identify our basic aspirations in life. Maybe continuous happiness, prosperity, the right understanding, how do we self-explore ourselves, and maybe reach the final goal of self-realization and self-actualization, starting from the physiological needs. So it's a holistic view, and you cannot define education. Definitely I've tried to describe it in few words.
Thank you. Anybody else, please? This person there in the corners. Yes, ma'am.
According to me, education is lesson to live your life with less conflict and more harmony, holistic manner. And if you can achieve it from anywhere, like you can achieve it from newspaper, from stories, from any situation. It is not necessary that you get it from the books. Anywhere you can get it, from nature, from anywhere.
Thank you. Anybody else, please? Maybe the final thoughts from the audience. Anybody else would like to describe or tell us what education to you would probably mean? Yes, please.
Very briefly, it is the basics of life that will understand the basics of living our life. Education will help it.
Thank you. See, if I were to think about it and try and differentiate one person from another on the basis of something with some person possesses and the other person does not, I would only like to look at education as a refinement of habits. Period. And I tell you something, why I'm saying so is, there's a reason behind it. If you ever go to any of the Ivy League universities, the first lesson that they give to their taught is not on principles of policy and economic theory and banking and rest of it. The first lesson that the Ivy League universities give any one of us when we reach there will be on foundations of philosophy, ethics, values, how you live a life, how you become better by being more honest, how do you carry more empathy with you and affect the society and community. And it's very fascinating to go there on the first few days of the start of their semesters, of the course that they have been teaching there. The first thing that they will do is they will put you into the class, get to the teachers who are going to not teach you anything aside from these things. And that trend is now spreading all over the West and is even going down to the schools. Where some of the best schools in UK and the US are now saying that what we teach is fine, that anybody will teach, any school will teach, any teacher will teach. So what else do we really try and give out to our students who are going to be much better as individuals when they go out in the society and community and begin to do whatever they do? They can become a social person, they can become a politician, they can become anybody, they can become a businessman also. So what is really going to run through as a common strand are the set of values which they say are very important. Can you be more fair? Can you be more honest? Can you have more empathy? Can you really be more helpful? These are the kind of trends which are being taught by some of the leading schools and universities in the West. I'm not saying they're not being done by our institutes and universities and the schools. But just to give you one example on how deprived we in India have been, despite the fact that they started on doing certain things as a pioneer in this area. And choices become even more difficult when you have an opportunity to make mistakes and make something for your own self. It is always fair to tell somebody, I did not do a thing because there was no other option or opportunity available for you. But can you really overcome something very enticing and move on without touching it? It is like a child finding a gold ring on the way, picking it up, giving it to somebody and saying, I found it, can you please hand it over to somebody who you might know left that gold ring behind? So the child could have stolen that gold ring but chose not to do it, give it to somebody else who could probably help find the person who has left that gold ring behind. So the child has had an option to steal that ring but did not do so, not because he or she was very human or whatever. It was all because of the fact that he or she had certain things, quote unquote, intangible, you can't touch and feel, which made this child differentiated from another child who would have stolen that ring and gone away. So I think it all starts from home. It all goes back to your school. You then carry those things down to your college, university, then you start working, and then you start growing. And I can tell you two things in particular. One, people who carried these principles and things were more likely to succeed in their lives. There is no principle which says that you will always succeed with honesty, integrity, whatever. But you are more likely to succeed in life with these values and virtues compared to somebody who does not have it. So this is something which is very, very important. The second thing very important to remember is that what do you really leave behind as a person? And I remember an incident when we were trying to roll out Teach India from Times of India. And there was a lot of money involved into that. And owners had to take a call on the decision. And Marwadis are very, Jains, and, they said, what do I get if I were to spend so much of money that you have been asking for? We could not convince the management, which means the family of the Times of India. We all failed to convince them on any other. We could only convince the family that if you do this, you will leave a big legacy behind. And that legacy is something which is very, very important. And these people got convinced, and the rest was the history. We did a great job. You must have seen what happened subsequently, and we did almost everything. More money came in, more number of newspapers were sold out. They got so much of, goodwill of the people from society, from community, and from everybody else. So all that I'm trying to say is that these things are very intangible, very universal, very locally contextualized. But if we were to pick some of these things, we can't really do everything in our life because we're all humans. And being a human, we all have limitations and contradictions which are embedded into our personality. But many a times we will have to really move beyond those contradictions, accept the challenge of going the hard way, finding the hard choices to exercise, and seeing to it that on every occasion and in every situation, we try and make the decisions which are not only going to benefit and help each one of us, but will go on to help and benefit somebody else. It could be your family, it could be your society, it could be your country, it could be your city, it could be your district. But be driven by those higher value sets and see to it that whatever you do is not only meant to benefit you in return, but whatever you are doing is something which has more likelihood to benefit and support your local vicinity, your family, your friends, your district, your state, and maybe someday your nation as well. So these are all very universal issues. We can go on to debate and talk about it. But I can tell you that I'm very impressed by the very fact that this kind of a program, which is on ethics, value, and professional development, supported by the regulatory body called All India Council for Technical Education, is being implemented by Diwan Institute of Management. And I always feel very happy when I find these things being driven by people like you, by local contextual circumstances, by institutes like Diwan Institute. I think when we begin to do these things more at the local level, the possibility of its success is pretty high. Because if you do these things in Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, or wherever, people will come with their own mindset, and by the last day you will not find as many more people sitting in the hall as I can find here. So I think when we were to do anything as good as this, the beginning has to be made at local level like this. And I think this is the great success which the Diwan Institute of Management has achieved, and I would like to congratulate the management of the Diwan Institute of Management, and I would like to express my thankfulness and gratefulness to Dr. Satish Kumar and to the management of the Diwan Institute of Management for inviting me once again. And I can see a lot of vibrance in the campus, I can see many happy faces around, and I can see the whole difference which I saw way back in 1998 and what I see now. So congratulations to you, and once again thank you very much for inviting me and giving your patient hearing to me. And I would be very happy in case you have any questions or answers. Please let me know, and it will be a pleasure to interact with you.